Hi everyone, this is Alex for Health and Lifestyle at Salmonella Place, and today I'm going to talk about having a pet in med school. So this vlog is going to be quite general. It's not only for people who are in med school, but the reason I want to focus upon that is because a medical student's time is really restricted. You know, you have long hours, you're in the library most of the time, or maybe you do study at home but still you're busy, or maybe, you know, once you're in the upper years you start getting patients, and your education is very important and you're in med school for a very long time, so that can take a toll on your decisions when it comes to getting an animal. Especially a larger one that needs a lot of time, like a dog, for example. I know you've seen Lila in a lot of my vlogs and in my intro, and that's really the reason that I got inspired to make this vlog. I want to really prepare people and help them make an informed decision before they make such a big commitment, because she's going to be around for 15 years. I love her to bits, but sometimes it's been hard, and I really want to talk about that today. So the biggest considerations when you get any kind of pet is time and money. I suppose all of you know about the time. Like I mentioned previously, if you have a long day, you have a lot of lessons, then you go to the library to study, or you even come home to study, you want to do things for yourself as well, like socialize, work out. Your days get very full, especially around exam period. So especially in the first and second years, I really wouldn't recommend getting an animal. You're going to be stressed and feel bad that you're leaving them at home alone for a lot of hours a day, and they're not going to feel good either, especially if you buy a puppy rather than a more mature dog. They need so much attention. They need pee and poop training inside the house. They need love and attention and toys. They really are like babies, you know, like a child. They need to be played with. They will start chewing your furniture if they're not stimulated enough. So I really want you to consider that. I bought my dog this year. I actually am having a passive semester right now. And that's why I found it to be the opportune time to get her, because I really did have the time to be there for her and train her and make sure she's stimulated and happy, you know, especially in the first months. The other thing I mentioned was money. Of course, you need to be able first to afford to buy the dog or any animal that you're getting. Secondly, you have to take into consideration that animals are like humans, they're not always healthy. They need the basic prophylactic medication, such as rabies injections against common diseases that, you know, if you travel with your dog, which a lot of international students will do in the future, you won't be able to go into certain countries if you don't have the injections. But, you know, other minor things like, God forbid, your puppy gets hit by a car or falls or has any kind of damages or infections, you have to be able to afford that, the vet bills, but also money for everyday care, like food, proper bedding, proper toys, chew toys for their teeth. Especially for dogs, toothpaste, you know, plaque buildup is extremely detrimental to the dog's health in the long run. When it starts getting a lot older, it can lose its teeth a lot quicker. And especially when it comes to traveling with animals, the flights can be quite costly. So you will need to check that out well in advance, whether you firstly can afford to take them on the flight and that the airline allows it, because there are some airlines that do not allow certain breeds on the planes. And if you can't travel with your dog, or you prefer not to because you're only traveling for a short period of time, how much the kenneling will cost and the standard of care, and there are so many things to consider, to be honest. So I really want you to take this into consideration. These are the most two important things, time and money. Now I'm going to go on to talk about other things that are necessary for the dog, which I learned along the way while having my sweet little child here. The next thing I'd really like to talk about is, especially if you have a dog or a cat, is the ability to train the animal. Especially for dogs, since cats do have a mind of their own. Dogs really need to be trained not only to make your life easier, but for their own safety. For example, crossing the street. You would really need to make your dog sit down for a couple of seconds every single time you reach a pavement, so that when it does you know, for some reason you let go of the lead or the dog gets out of the house or out of the yard, it's going to sit down before it crosses the road out of habit rather than running across and getting hit by a car. Or for example, when being sociable with other animals, you don't want to raise an aggressive dog that will bite other people's dogs or, you know, young children in the park. This is something that you can actually get fined or even have your dog put down for. And then again at home, of course, you want the dog to pee and poop outside the house, preferably in a place that is convenient for you to clean, because you should always pick up your dog poop, especially if you have a communal living space. Like for example, I live in a block of flats and the garden is communal, and I have been allowed to, I'd asked for the permission to let her outside, but of course I still need to keep the area clean and nice so everybody else can use the garden as well. So this is something that's really important. If you train the puppy or the dog as soon as you get it, you'll be able to avoid bad habits and things that are really difficult to correct later on. Other major things you need to consider when getting an animal, especially a larger animal, is the space that you have in your house. For example, I live in an apartment, but Lila will not grow to the size of a very large dog, and therefore she'll always feel comfortable in my house. And I do, like I said before, have a yard where she can exercise, and I take her on walks every day. If you live in a very, very small apartment or studio, it's not really good for the dog or for you to get, for example, a Saint Bernard, which is a huge dog. It would be a lot better for you to get a lot smaller dog like a Pomeranian or a Chihuahua. But then again, you have to take that into consideration, your lifestyle and the personality you have. If you're a quiet person, you don't want a dog that is very yappy or barks a lot or is, you know, running around and very energetic. But then again, if you are a sporty person and you love to run, you might want to get a slightly bigger dog that you can run with and that can keep you company. So take that into consideration, the type of dog or cat or whatever small animal you're buying. And the characteristics of their breed, you know, what they come with, their own personality. One of the things I would really like to stress is I bought Lila and she is a pure breed dog. However, there are a lot of other options. You can buy a dog from a rescue shelter. Actually, I think in some shelters, at least in this country, you don't even have to pay for the dog. As long as you can prove that you're taking it to a good home, they will give you the dog. So like I said before, with time and money, check your finances if you have the time and you would like to get a dog. Of course, bred dogs are more expensive because it is actually a business. One of the things I would really like to stress on that is please check if you are buying a bred dog rather than adopting a mongrel, because mongrels are healthier, is check their genetic history. If there is any chance that the dog has been milled, which means that many dogs of the same breed have been interbred, they can actually get a lot of genetic diseases and become sick, maybe not immediately when they're puppies, but as they grow older. And you really don't want to have to deal with those problems, but also it's very painful for the dog to live and be sick because of something that they can't change, which is their genetics. So if you've actually made the decision after thinking about the things that I previously told you and taking them into consideration, and you would like to either adopt or purchase a puppy or a more mature dog, I'm just going to tell you a few of the basics that I found really helpful once your dog comes home with you. You're going to need obviously a lead and a collar. I would in the beginning not let the dog out of the house without the lead on until you are confident that you've trained the dog to be able to listen to you and to come and to behave around other dogs, small children and other people in general. The dog is going to need somewhere to sleep, so a bed. They come in all different sizes, shapes and colors. If you go to the pet store, you're going to find something that's perfect for you, and there's always someone helpful in there that will know about the specific breed that you've chosen. I would check both online, but also again in the shop you will find someone who can help you about specific types of food for your dog. One that I would really recommend, which might be a little more pricey than commercial food, but it does have long-lasting benefits, is a raw food diet for dogs. If you feed them boiled rice with raw meat or lentils, legumes, you will actually see a real improvement in your dog's coat and their energy levels, their digestion. This sounds a bit disgusting, but their poop is always going to be firm, which is good for you when you have to pick it up. But I just saw that, at least for Lila, she was a lot happier on this diet and continues to be. Lastly, I have to stress the importance, especially with a puppy, of toys. Like I said before, if your puppy is stimulated and happy, they will not destroy your shoes, clothes, books, furniture, because they have something to do. And one of the other benefits of having toys, if you can buy toys that are specific for helping their dental structure, especially with a puppy, since their teeth actually fall out at around 4 to 6 months and they get their permanent teeth, that's gonna lessen the terrible toothing stage where they do want to bite everything because their teeth are itching. So everyone, I hope you enjoyed this vlog. I hope that you've heard a lot of things that you will take into consideration if you don't already have an animal or if you're considering getting one. I know that, you know, once I had considered these things and decided that I was able to do it, that I've really enjoyed my time with Lila. And yeah, if there's anything I've missed or you'd like to hear about, or you think there's something more I need to say, please comment below this link or send us an email at info@salmonellaplace.com. That's info@salmonellaplace.com. Bye!
Is that her?
You please don't part one.